It says here that the solution could still be a bandage, but it would be the one that tightly pulls together the wound to stop the bleeding. It would be a bandage that sticks to the skin even if the skin is wet or sweaty. The new solution could also be medical glue that stops the bleeding immediately. The key here is that the solution should address the customer's true pain point. The marketing shouldn't be about the product, it should be about the alleviation of the pain point. Another example for our pain points, the myth of Henry Ford saying, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. It still holds a very important lesson in it. It's not a quote about ignoring customers' feedbacks, it's about getting to the root pain point customers have. Well, in this quote, the pain point has nothing to do with horses or even cars. The pain point is that the people want to get from one place to another quickly and efficiently. But people see the only solution to that being faster horses. We have here is another example to further summarize and emphasize the meaning of pain points. Customers experience pain in many ways, but oftentimes they don't know how to tell you what that pain truly is. So instead, they ask you a solution. Well, one way to get at customer's pain point is to ask an open-ended question and then you follow up. In the classic example of Theodore Levitt in the sketch above, if someone walks into a hardware store looking for a 1/4 drill bit, their pain point isn't that they need a 1/4 bit. Their pain point is that they need a 1/4 hole. Don't ask them what kind of features they want in the drill bit. Instead, ask them what they want the drill bit for. As the expert, you'll oftentimes know what to prescribe to them. Now, let's talk about pain points versus solutions. So let's see. If you understand the underlying pain points your customers have, your approach to innovation completely changes. The way you speak to your audience changes. You don't hype a solution, but rather call out how the solution alleviates the pain point. Ibig sabihin dito, pinapakita mo kung ano talaga yung kailangan ng customer instead kung ano yung bagay na gusto nila. Inuuna mo yung needs nila before yung wants nila. You connect with them, you build trust with them because you understand them. What we have here is a picture that says no one ever got rich working 9 to 5. So this picture explains that working on an enterprise or a company never get people rich. Instead, if people wants to be rich, they tend to lean on the business side of things. We have here is another quote now from Warren Buffett. He said that risk come from not knowing what you're doing. This basically means that if you know what you're doing, risks aren't really a problem for you. Instead, those risks will be critically analyzed by you and solved by you.
Dumako naman tayo dito sa unit 2, ang customer segments. Ano nga ba pinagkaibahan ng customer at ng end user? Ang customer, ito po yung sila po yung bumibili ng produkto o nagbabayad ng presyo ng mga produkto o serbisyo mula sa mga isang tiyak na tagagawa o negosyo. Kaya ang customer ay hindi sila lagi yung end user. Sila lang yung nagbabayad at ibinibigay ito sa mga tao na magiging end user ng mga ito. Ano nga ba yung end user? Ito yung mga taong gumagamit o kumukonsumo ng mga produkto o serbisyo. Ang customer ay maaari ding end user pero hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon end user sila. Gayunpaman, ang end user ang nakakaalam na tunay na kalidad at katangian ng produkto o serbisyo dahil siya ang gumagamit ito. Tayo dito mga example ng customer at meron din pong end user. Simulan po natin sa diaper. Sino po ba yung bumibili? Siyempre po, customer. Mga parents. Sino po yung mga gagamit ng diaper? End user, yung mga babies. Ventilator. Customer natin, hospital. Sino ba gagamit ng ventilators? Di po yung mga patients, yun po yung mga end users natin. Business softwares. Customer, company. End users natin, mga employer. Engagement ring. Siyempre po, yung lalaki po yung customer natin. And end user natin, the girl. Ito yung isang example natin, yung car. Customer natin, owner. End user natin, owner. Ito yung sinasabi natin na pwede ding maging end user natin yung mga customer. Pero hindi sa lahat ng pagkakataon. Dog food, customer natin, dog owner, end user natin. Sa stakeholder. Ano nga ba yung stakeholder? Ang stakeholder po ay isang partido na may interes sa isang kumpanya at maaaring maapekto sa negosyo o maapektuhan nito. Ang stakeholders ay maaaring maapekto sa kumpanya at sa kabaliktaran maaaring makaapekto ng mga aksyon ng kumpanya. Meron tayong iba't ibang types ng stakeholders. Meron tayong internal stakeholders, mga employees, manager, owner. Meron din tayong external stakeholders, ito yung mga society, government, creditors, mga shareholders. Kasama din dito sa type ng stakeholders yung suppliers at what is a influencer? Ano nga ba itong influencer na to? Ang influencer ito isang tao na may kapangyarihan na makaapekto sa mga desisyon natin sa mga pagbili ng produkto. Dahil sa kanilang mga kaalaman o posisyon, otoridad o yung mga relasyon nila sa kanilang manonood o sa kanilang taga-subaybay. Bigyan ko kayo example ng mga influencer. Tulad na lang sa TikTok, si Jomar, yung nagbebenta ng payong. Pinapakita niya kung paano ito, kung gaano ito katibay, kahit ihampas-hampas nila, kahit ibalibag-ibalibag, hindi nasisira. Ini-influensyahan niya tayo na bilhin natin to, maganda to, yung payong na to. Yan. Kaya ito sabi dito na may kapangyarihan siyang makaapekto sa desisyon natin sa pagbili. Na-influensyahan ni tayo na bilhin natin yung produkto niya. Si Jomar ay isang example siya ng isang influencer.
Hi guys, so ngayon ay pag-usapan natin yung tungkol sa customer segments. Ano yung iba't ibang uri nito at paano ito nakakaapekto sa business models ng mga kumpanya. So una, ano nga ba yung customer segments? Sa madaling salita, yung customer segments, ito ay yung grupo ng customers na may similar needs and preferences. Pero, hindi naman sa lahat ng pagkakataon ay pare-pareho ito. Kasi nga, meron tayong iba't ibang uri at yun naman ay nakadepende sa target market ng isang kumpanya or business. So una, itong segmented na nasa slide, based on definition, some business models distinguish between market segments with slightly different needs and problems. So, sa madaling salita, ang mga negosyo dito ay nadidistinguish ng iba't ibang market segments na may kaunting differences sa kanilang needs and problems. Example nito, para mas maintindihan, is yung bangko katulad ng Credit Suisse. So, meron silang group of customers na mayroong hanggang $100,000 ang assets. At meron din namang clients na higit pa sa $500,000 ang net worth. So, parehas silang customers or clients ng bank, pero may iba't iba silang pangangailangan. Dahil doon, iba rin ang kanilang value propositions, distribution channels, at customer relationships. Ngayon ay pag-usapan natin yung niche market. So, a niche market refers to specific customer segment with highly defined characteristics. So, sila yung mga customers na nangangailangan ng tailored product na akma sa kanilang pangangailangan. So, pag sinabi kasing tailored, ito yung parang custom made. Ito yung may specific silang qualification and standards para pumasok sa kanilang satisfaction. At dahil doon, ang value propositions, channels, at yung customer relationships ay sobrang custom or tailored din para sa kanila. Kabilang banda, meron naman tayong tinatawag na mass market, wherein products and services which target the mass market segment have a broad appeal and often cover the overall population. So, coming from its name, mass. So, hindi ito nagre-rely sa isang specific lamang na segmentation. Kaya, mas efficient ito sa pag-accommodate o pag-treat ng customers na parang pare-pareho lang sila. Pero, in reality, kakaunti lang talaga yung companies na totally ganito. most businesses still apply some level of segmentation. Sumunod naman ay yung diversified. So, a business that decides to take diversified approach to customer segmentation will select a wide range of customer groups with very different needs. So, base sa definition, yung negosyo na yun ay mayroong target na malawak na range ng customer groups na meron ding magkakaibang pangailangan. So, ang business na nagdi-diversify usually nagmamigrate sa new customers at markets. So, isang halimbawa ay yung Amazon. So, yung Amazon, nagsimula sila bilang online bookstore pero nag-diversify into cloud services dahil na-utilize nila ang kanilang core infrastructure. At same thing din iyon sa Apple na nag-expand from music to app. Lastly, ay meron tayong tinatawag na multi-sided platforms or multi-sided markets. So, ito yung mga businesses na kailangan mag-attract ng 2 or more independent customer segments para mag-succeed yung kanilang business model. So, halimbawa, ang isang credit card company, kailangan nila ng maraming cardholders. At the same time, kailangan din nila ng maraming merchants na tatanggap ng credit cards. Parehong importanteng segment iyon para gumana yung kanilang business. So ayan, na-cover na natin ang iba't ibang uri ng customer segments at kung paano ito nakaka-apekto sa business models. Sa understanding ng mga segments na ito, mas magiging strategic tayo pagdating sa pag-handle ng business at mamimit natin yung needs ng ating target market. So sana may natutunan kayo. Is market segmentation. So yung market segmentation, based sa definition, ito yung proseso ng paghahati-hati ng target customer segments into smaller, more precise clusters. So bakit? Ginagamit kasi ito para mas makategorize ang mga customer segments at para matukoy kung ano ang pinaka-akma or best way para ma-serve ang bawat.
Demographic segmentation is a marketing strategy that divides a target market into specific groups based on demographic factors such as age, gender, income, educational level, occupation, family size, composition, religion, and ethnicity. By understanding these factors, businesses can create personalized marketing campaigns that resonate with specific segments, leading to higher engagement and conversion rates. This approach helps businesses cater to diverse consumer preference and cater to their specific needs and preferences. Behavioral segmentation is a marketing strategy that categorizes consumers into groups based on their behaviors, interactions, and decision-making processes related to the product or service. Key aspects included the purchase behavior, usage rate, benefits sought, loyalty status, occasions or timing, user status, engagement level, and buyer readiness stage. By understanding this aspect, and business can tailor their products and marketing messages to meet the needs of different segments. For example, businesses can segment customer into frequent buyers, occasional buyers, and first-time buyers based on their purchasing patterns and brand loyalty. Segment can also be based on the level of engagement with brand, such as participation of loyalty programs, response to their marketing campaign. Demographic segmentation is a marketing strategy that divides a target market based on the psychological characteristics such as lifestyle, personality traits, values and beliefs, social status, interests, opinions, attitudes, and motivations. It helps businesses consumer. By understanding these factors, brands can create personalized and emotionally resonant marketing campaigns that resonate with their target audience. This approach helps businesses create more personally successful marketing campaigns, ensuring they reach their intended audience by focusing on these psychological factors. Businesses can create more successful and engaging marketing campaigns. Geographic segmentation is a marketing strategy that divides target market based on geographic factors such as location, climate, population, density, urbanization, language, regional preferences, and market size, and cultural differences. By analyzing these factors, businesses can create a target marketing strategies by resonate with consumer in a specific location, better meeting in their audience needs and increasing the effectiveness of their marketing efforts. For example, brand might marketed differently urban areas compared to rural ones. Geographic segmentation also considered regional preferences, market size, and cultural differences, allowing businesses to tailor their offer to meet the unique needs of their own.
A man who stopped advertising to save money is like a man who stopped the clock to save time by Henry Ford. Ang pahayag na ito ni Henry Ford ay nangangahulugan ang pagtigil sa advertising para makatipid ng pera ay parang pagtigil sa orasan para makatipid ng oras. Bali, sa isang salita ay parang naisip din ng ibang tao na advertising ay additional expenses, like wala naman din mapapala, ba't sila magbabayad pa, di ba? Pero ang advertising ay mahalaga upang makilala ang iyong produkto or serbisyo at mapanatili ang interes ng mga customer. Kung ititigil mo ito, maaaring hindi mo maabot ang iyong target market at sa huli, hindi mo rin maabot ang iyong layunin sa negosyo. Ayun na nga. Doing business without advertising is like winking at a girl in the dark. You know what you are doing but nobody else does, by Stuart Anderson Britt. Ang pahayag naman ni Stuart Anderson Britt ay nangangahulugan ang pagpapatakbo ng negosyo ng walang advertising ay parang pag-wink sa isang babae sa dilim. Alam mo ang ginagawa mo pero walang ibang nakakita. Sa madaling salita, kahit gaano pa kahusay ang iyong produkto or serbisyo, kung walang advertising, hindi ito makikilala ng iba. Business has only two functions, marketing and innovation, by Milan Kundera. Ang pahayag naman ni Milan Kundera dito ay nangangahulugan ang negosyo ay may dalawang pangunahing tungkulin, marketing at innovation. Sa madaling salita, ang negosyo ay kailangan ng mahusay na marketing para makilala at ng innovation para makabago at mapanatili ang interes ng mga customer. So, yun na nga, na hindi magstay na maging stagnant yung business. Make it simple, make it memorable, make it inviting to look at, make it fun to read by Leo Burnett. Pahayag na ito ni Leo Burnett ay nagsasabi na sa paggawa ng advertising o anumang mensahe, dapat ito maging simple, madaling tandaan, kaaya-aya sa mata at masaya basahin. Madaling salita, ang mensahe kailangan na malinaw, pansin-pansin at kaakit-akit upang makaakit ng atensyon ng iba. Internet is becoming the town square for global village of tomorrow by Bill Gates. Ang pahayag ni Bill Gates ay nangangahulugan ang internet ay nagiging pangunahing lugar kung saan nagtatagpo ang mga tao mula sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Well, sabi niya is sa hinaharap, pero in this time, ganito na nga ang nangyayari. Mas lalo pa sa susunod ng panahon. A value proposition is a simple statement that summarizes why a customer will choose your product or service, communicates the clearest benefit that customers receive by giving you their business. Ang value proposition ay isang maikli at malinaw na pahayag na nagpapakita kung bakit dapat piliin ng customer ang produkto o serbisyo. Pinapayag nito ang pangunahing benepisyo na makakamit ng mga customer kapag pinili nila ang iyong alok. Sa madaling salita, ito ang dahilan kung bakit nakakahanap sila ng halaga at solusyon sa iyong produkto o serbisyo kumpara pa sa iba pang pagpipilian o sa iyong ibang mga kakompetensya.
Value proposition. So, ang value proposition, ito yung marketing statement na nag-iikayat dun sa mga consumer para bumili dun sa product ng business nyo or di naman kaya ay gumamit ng serbisyo ng business nyo. So, mamaya, alamin natin kung ano nga ba ang isang example ng value proposition para mas malinawan tayo kung anong ibig sabihin. Sabi naman dito na yung value proposition, isa ito sa pinakamahalaga na hindi dapat mawawala sa marketing strategy ng business nyo. So, kung baga kasi, andito lahat ng nilalaman ng business nyo para makahikayat ng mga consumer. So, sa pamamagitan na ng value proposition, magkakaroon kayo ng advantage dun sa ibang competitors ng business nyo para maging mabili doon sa masa. So, nagkakaroon na ba kayo ng idea kung ano ang isang example ng value proposition? So, malapit na dinefine ni Michael Lanning at Edward Michaels na yung value proposition, ito daw yung tinatawag na simple statement of benefits. So, paano nga ba nila nasabi yun? So, syempre nga, dun sa pag-advertisement mo ng product nyo, aalamin ng mga consumer kung paano ba sila magbe-benefit doon sa product nyo. So ngayon, may dalawang types ng benefits. Ito yung tangible benefits at intangible benefits. So, malalaman natin kung ano ang pinagkaiba. Ngayon ito na, yung value proposition pala, ito yung nagiging daan dun sa mga consumer para malaman nila lahat ng nilalaman tungkol doon sa may product ng business nyo. So, sa pamagitan ng value proposition na to, nagugustuhan ng consumer yung product nyo kahit hindi pa naman nila ito nahahawakan, mga ganon. Syempre, kaalaman lang. So, marketing statement, syempre yun na, dun sa unang slides. Marketing statement para magustuhan o bumili yung consumer ng product nyo. Ngayon, dito na pala na bubuo yung tinatawag na advertisement. So, ito yung isang pinaka-example ng value proposition, ang marketing advertisement. So, ano nga ba yung mga nilalaman ng advertisement? So, di ba, dun sa mga advertisement na napapanood natin, hinihikayat nila yung mga manonood, yung mga consumer para magustuhan yung product na binibenta nyo. Pwede ring serbisyo, sabi ko nga. So, ayun. Nalaman natin kung ano ang value proposition ng malinaw. Ito pa pala yung advertisement. Isang example niya. Ang pinagkaiba ng tangible benefits at intangible benefits. Yung tangible benefits, ito yung mapatungkol doon sa mga benefits ng consumer about doon sa mga financial terms. Halimbawa, makaka-discount yung consumer na to doon sa product na yon kapag binili niya, kapag dinagdagan niya. So, yung iba naman, makaka-save siya kapag maramihan yung binili din niya. Makaka-save siya ng 50 pesos, ganon. So, yun yung tangible benefits na sinasabi dito tungkol sa financial terms, sa pera. Sa intangible benefits naman, dito pumapasok yung kung paano na sasatisfy yung customer doon sa servisyo nyo. O di man, nagiging masaya siya dahil masarap yung binili niya sa'yo. So, yun yung intangible benefits na sinasabi. Pumapatungkol naman yun sa mga nararamdaman ng tao kapag maganda yung service na ginawa ng business nyo. So, yun yung pinagkaiba ng tangible at intangible benefits. Para mas malinawan tayo, ito yung mga example ng tangible benefits at intangible benefits. So, example ng tangible benefits, increase revenue. So, sabi ko nga, makatipid tayo, resource cost savings, hardware cost savings, software cost savings, productivity gain, process improvements. Kung mapapansin nyo, tungkol talaga siya dun sa mga financial terms ng isang customer. Dito naman sa intangible benefits, enhance user experience, increase customer satisfaction, increase compliance, brand equity. So, ito namang intangible, tungkol to talaga sa mga naramdaman ng customer sa paggamit ng or pagbili ng product nyo. Isa na nga dito yung increase customer satisfaction. So, nagkaroon siya ng satisfaction doon sa product nyo. So, So, ayun. Nalaman natin kung ano ang pinagkaiba ng tangible at intangible benefits.